Hello and welcome to another session of NL Recess. Today we are hosting Ghazala Wahab, who is a journalist and author. She's the executive editor of Force magazine and co-author of Dragon on Our Doorstep and most recently Born a Muslim. What prompted you to write the book at this time? Is it because you were always planning to write it, or is it the socio-political movement we live in that kind of informed your motivation to write it and put it out at this time?
This book has been a culmination of various things, socio-political discourse being one of them. The other one was that my own engagement with my religion. And I felt that there were a lot of things which we had grown up with, which were now looked down upon by a lot of people. They were Muslim themselves, and they would start passing judgment on Muslimness of fellow Muslims. So this sort of a thing used to bother me.
How was that journey? How did that happen from your childhood to the place where you started writing this book, that this internal engagement had also sort of frayed somewhere?
This individual's association with the faith, as being a two-way communication between an individual and Allah. This connection has frayed over a period of time. I'm not talking about myself personally, but because of so many other extraneous factors that have come in.
You also spoke about in your interview with Karan Thapar the other day. So this mob that came to your house, it was led by a neighbor's son, somebody who you had known, and your parents never expected him to be there to attack you. And this is something we have seen again and again and again. How does that shape you, seeing that, watching that you come here, you are among these people who you trust, who you have shared your lives with, and then they turn on you? How does that shape you as a person, and more importantly, as a citizen?
That had a very salutary effect on my parents, and maybe by extension on all of us, because we realized that despite this the vitiation in the atmosphere, despite this hatred which was prevailing at that time, all the consequent to Advani's Rath Yatra, all this hate mongering that had been going on, the volatile speeches, this sense of community remained in our neighborhood.
So you write, socially, economically, and in terms of security, Muslims today are already second-grade citizens in India. This affects the psyche of the community, its relationship with itself and with others. Frightened people cannot think clearly. The walls that Muslims are building around themselves for self-preservation come in the way of free thinking, progress, integration, and religious reforms. Now, if I were being uncharitable, I would say you were blaming the victims here. Because, I mean, these walls they're building around themselves, one, they don't have, an option, really. And the second is because, for example, if we take education and if we take progress, economic and social progress, you talk throughout your book about how that they're actively being denied, that discrimination is there. You talk about these meat traders and leather traders in UP, for example, who were basically run out of business. So that pathway to progress, to education, that's been denied to them. So what exactly are they supposed to do about it themselves?
All of this has a negative impact also on the community. And for this negative impact and for this fear, I'm actually blaming the administration. I'm blaming the government of the day, and not just this government, but successive governments in India who have ensured or who have willy-nilly allowed this sort of deprivation to continue, or to probably even they have fostered it to some extent. So I am not victim blaming at all. All I'm saying is the consequence of this sort of pervasive insecurity is that it also comes in their way of clear thinking. It comes in the way of their taking chances with education, with employment, with free thinking. Because
average Muslim living in UP, Bihar, elsewhere, out of the sort of the socio-political predicament he is in, out of the problem he is in, because his biggest problem right now, if say, for example, the Hindutva person were to sort of come to him, his problem is not that he is not liberal Muslim or religious Muslim or whatever. His problem is that he is a Muslim. And the reason for the discrimination is his Muslimness. not how he actually follows that religion. So how does that help?
This is the dilemma of a moderate Muslim,
Yeah.
who's regarded as a renegade by his own community, and the radical Hindu or a mob, when he's confronted with one that doesn't regard this moderate or a liberal Muslim as a liberal person. So this is a dilemma, which is why you find more and more moderate people minding their own business and keeping a low profile, which is why you also see that people feel that the entire community, the Muslim community in India, has been hijacked by the more dogmatic, more conservative elements, and you don't get to see the liberal people anywhere. So that is tragedy of our situation. I don't know what is the way out, except that we have to just keep trying and making ourselves heard more and more.
मुफ्त खोरों, मुफ्त में इतना ही मिलेगा. To watch the full unedited interview, you have to subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free. Because when the public pays, the public is served. We depend on you and not on advertisers. So go to www.newslaundry.com/subscription and subscribe and get all our unedited interviews, our special video shows, comics, and everything that's behind the paywall. Remember, to subscribe to News Laundry, you pay just about 10 rupees a day. That's less than, well, no, a cigarette, and smoking is injurious to health. So subscribe and watch the full interview.
You ever think India will also see a Rwanda-like genocide in the coming decades?
How has the Muslim community overall reacted to your book?
What could we do as a society so that this divide could be minimalized?
Your first question has actually frightened me. I'm not very sure that in India, our hatred is still to that level, or our disaffection towards one another is that deep. I believe more interaction, less segregation, and greater communication is the key to build some sort of a bridge. I have been pleasantly surprised that across the board, I have received very positive feedback from Muslims across age groups. By some steps or by some action, demonstrate why this fear is unfounded. I think that is the best that anybody can do to create a more harmonious and more integrated society.